Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadership Impact Night. I am Pastor Benjamin Wilson, and I'm excited to have you here tonight. Whether you're watching this live or catching the replay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I am honored. I am honored. I don't take it lightly. That you have taken time out of your schedule to tune in with us tonight. Leadership Impact Night is the place where leaders are activated, mindsets are shifted, and confidence is built. Most people don't step into leadership because they're not capable. That's the truth. For most people, for a lot of them, the reason they don't step into leadership is because they don't think like a leader yet. I want to share this with you. It's from John Maxwell's Law of the Lid. You will never lead beyond the way that you think. Your mindset determines your leadership ceiling. That's the essence of the leadership lid. And for some, the only thing standing between them and their next level of leadership isn't their ability, it's their mindset. The truth of the matter, many of us have the skills. You have the calling, you have the potential, but if your mind is stuck in self-doubt, hesitation, and waiting for permission, you will stay right where you are. But what if the reason you haven't stepped into leadership yet has nothing to do with what you lack and everything to do with how you think? What if the only thing holding you back is a mindset that needs to shift? Friends, tonight, that's what we're talking about. Tonight, we are going to break the cycle of doubt. We're going to expose the lies that have kept you stuck. And we're going to step into the mindset that leaders carry, even before they ever hold a leadership position. I hope you are looking forward to this because leadership doesn't start when people recognize you. It starts the moment you recognize yourself. I shared last week that this week's topic would change the way you think about leadership forever. And I intend to make good on that promise. Are you ready for it? Let's jump into it. This is Leadership Night. And tonight we're talking the mindset shift, thinking like a leader before you feel like one. Thinking like a leader before you feel like one. I once knew a man, let's just call him Benjamin. Driven, hardworking, passionate, a man who knew he had potential, a man who knew he had opportunities that were right in front of him. But every time the moment came to step into something greater, Benjamin hesitated. He told himself he wasn't ready. He thought, I need more experience. I need more confidence. I need to feel like I'm in this place before I begin to act like it. I need to feel like a leader before I act like one. And so he waited. He watched, celebrated, and fully supported other people as they stepped into the spaces that he was called to. He watched leadership opportunities go right by him. They passed him by. He watched intently, convinced that one day, he'd finally feel ready. Friends, I didn't realize at the time, but the biggest thing holding me back wasn't my ability. You see, everything changed when I picked up a book one day, or actually listened to the book one day. And in that book, the author laid out something that hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, our thoughts create feelings, our feelings create actions, our actions determine results. This isn't something, this was a model that he got from cognitive behavioral therapy. And as I read those words and listened to those words, something clicked inside of me. I started thinking back to every time I had myself in a position where decided to shrink back rather than step up. And I realized that it wasn't because I wasn't capable, it was because of what I believed about myself. Because if your thoughts shape how you feel, and how you feel determines how you act, and how you act determines what you experience in life, the real question is, where do your thoughts come from? And as I thought about that, as I read that and listened to it, the author took it a bit deeper. He began to compare the mind to a computer. And just like a computer, your programming determines your output. In other words, your life is running on the program that you received from the time that you were a child. That includes the things you saw, the words you heard, the experiences you had, whether it's from your community, your parents, your friends, your siblings. All of that has shaped what you believe about leadership, success, money, and even yourself. And just like a computer can't produce results beyond its programming, Friends, you can't lead beyond the way you think. That's when I realized in order for things to change, I need to rewrite my programming. Because if programming shapes my thoughts, and thoughts shape my feelings, and feelings shape my actions, and actions determine my results, then what I needed to do, what you need to do, if you want to change your results, you have to change the programming. That's what I said to myself. Ben, if you want to change your results, you've got to change your programming. That moment changed everything for me. Because for the first time, I understood leadership is not just about skills, it's about mindset. And if I wanted to step into the leadership God was calling me to, I needed to renew my mind. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is a scripture that is often referenced when talking about the need, the necessity, the requirement to renew our minds. But if you allow me, I want to share another scripture with you that came to the forefront of my mind as I read what the author was speaking. As I followed along, I was listening and reading what it is that he was saying. And this is the verse that came to mind. Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So is he. Not as a man speaks, so is he. Not as a man is positioned. Not as a man is given a title, so is he. No, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. You will never rise above the level of your thinking. I want you to catch that. You will never lead beyond the way you see yourself. That's where I was, and that's where I needed to shift. If you believe you're not good enough, you're not ready, you're not qualified, then that belief will shape all of your actions, and your actions will shape your results. But if you start shifting the way you think, man, if you start seeing yourself as a leader before anybody else around you does, if you start thinking like the person God has already created you to be, man, that changes everything. Because leadership doesn't start when people recognize you. I've said it already. It starts the moment you recognize yourself. And if you want to step into leadership before you feel ready, you need to make three major mindset shifts. Three major mindset shifts. Over the last couple of minutes, we've been talking about your mindset and why your mindset is the key to your leadership. We've broken down the fact that your thoughts shape your reality. But friends, you can hear all of this and still stay stuck if you don't make a conscious, intentional decision to break the cycle of limited thinking. We have to break the cycle. If you want to unlock your leadership, you need to make three major shifts. Mindset shifts. Mindset shift number one is shifting from I need to be ready to I need to be willing. I need to be willing. This mindset shift speaks directly to some of the biggest lies that keeps leaders stuck. Lies like I'll lead when I feel ready, or I'll step up when I have more experience, or I'll move when the timing is right. Listen to me closely. Listen, Linda, closely to what I'm saying about this. Leaders are not called because they're ready. They're called because they are willing. They're called because they're willing. Look at Moses. God appears to him in a burning bush in Exodus 3 and says, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people out of Egypt. And Moses, he does not say, yes, Lord, I'm ready. I've been preparing for this moment my entire life. No. Instead, he says, who am I that I should go? And he doesn't stop there. Then he begins to argue. What if they don't believe me? I'm not even good with my words. Please, God, send someone else. But God wasn't asking Moses if he felt ready. He was asking if he was willing. Some of you right now have been arguing with God in the same way, in many of the same ways that Moses was. You've been saying, God, who am I that you would choose me to lead? Good question. What if they don't take me seriously? I've asked that myself. I don't have the background yet. Please send someone else. Please listen to me. God doesn't choose leaders based on their readiness. He chooses leaders based on obedience. If you're waiting to feel ready, friends, you will never move. But if you shift your mindset to be willing, God will equip you as you go. Jump and learn to fly on the way down. So let me ask you, what are you waiting or are you willing? Because your leadership isn't waiting for a perfect moment, it's waiting for your obedience. Mindset shift number two calls us to move from I need to be approved to I need to be obedient. This shift is the difference between leaders who move with boldness and leaders who stay stuck in hesitation. Because too many leaders, too many people think leadership means being liked, getting everyone's support, or having universal approval. If there was ever time to laugh, that would be it. Because here's the truth: leaders don't move based on approval, they move based on obedience. We can look at Nehemiah. Nehemiah wasn't a king, he wasn't a military leader, he wasn't even someone that had high status. He was a captive that was given the position of cupbearer to the king. But when he heard that Jerusalem was in ruins, he didn't wait for someone to give him permission to care. No, he prayed and he planned. And when the opportunity came, he stepped forward boldly. Nehemiah didn't ask, will people approve? He asked, what has God placed in my heart to do? And when opposition came, because trust me, in the same way it came from him, it will always come from you. Nehemiah did not shrink back. He said, I am carrying on a great work and cannot stop. I cannot come down. I must continue doing this. Some of you have been waiting for people to validate what God has already told you to do. I'm not beating you up. I've been there myself. If you wait for approval, you will never lead. Because leadership isn't about popularity. Leadership is about obedience. So I want to ask you a question. Are you chasing approval or are you walking in obedience? Because if you keep shrinking down every time people don't agree, you're letting opinions control your calling. The third mindset shift calls us to shift from I need confidence to I need courage. This last shift, this one right here, this might be the difference. This is the difference between leaders who keep up and the ones who stay in the background. Because too many people think confidence comes first. They think I'll move when I feel strong enough. They begin to think I'll lead when I feel capable enough, or even I'll speak up when I feel bold enough, when I'm confident enough, when I'm articulate enough. But let me tell you something clearly. Confidence does not come before action. It follows action. I once heard a powerful quote that changed my life. To increase confidence, you need to increase competence. Confidence is increased with competence. And when I heard it, it changed the way I saw life. It changed the way I saw leadership. Because most people think, including me, most people think confidence is a feeling, but confidence is a result. Confidence isn't something you wake up with. It's something that grows as you build skill, knowledge, and experience. And the moment I heard that, I fell in love with it. Let me say it this way: competence produces confidence. You don't wait for confidence to take action. You take action, you grow, and confidence follows. Look at Joshua. God tells him in Joshua 1, be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid. He told him several times. Joshua wasn't strong and he wasn't courageous yet. God didn't say, Joshua, just wait until you feel courageous, then move. No, he told Joshua to be courageous first. Then he told him to step. Some of you have been waiting to feel bold. You've been waiting to feel confident, but the truth is, confidence isn't a requirement for leadership. Let me say it again. Confidence is not a requirement for leadership. Courage is. And when you move in courage, competence grows. And when competence grows, confidence follows. So let me ask you this. Are you waiting for confidence or are you or are you choosing courage? Because courage is a choice and it moves before confidence, even before confidence is ever in the picture. Now the question becomes, how do you start thinking like a leader? Because this isn't just about knowing the truth. It's about applying it. That's what Leadership Impact Night is about. It's not just giving knowledge. It's about helping us to apply it. You can understand all of the concepts all day long, but if you never activate them in your life daily, nothing will change. So I want to give you 3 practical steps to start rewiring your thinking, changing your programming, and developing a leadership mindset. These 3 steps are the foundation of leadership transformation. Step 1 is speaking it before you see it. Speak it before you see it. This is the first step because your words, the words you speak, shape your reality. Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death." That means what you speak will either build you up or tear you down. Some of us have been guilty of speaking doubt over our lives, over our own lives, saying things like, "I'm not a leader. I don't have what it takes," or "I'll never be as good as that person." And without realizing it, you have been programming your mind to believe exactly that. But if you want to start thinking like a leader, you have to start speaking like one. You have to hear yourself speaking it, even before you feel it, even before you see it, even before anyone else recognizes it. You have to speak it. So here's what I want you to do starting tonight: change your language. Instead of saying, "I'm not ready," say, "God is preparing me." Y'all, I'm serious. Say it right now. Say, "God is preparing me." Come on. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," say, "I'm growing every day." I'm growing every day. I'm serious. I want y'all to say this because when you hear it, it makes it real. Instead of saying, "I'm not a leader," say, "I'm stepping into my calling." I'm stepping into my calling. Now, step 2, uh, act like it before you feel it. Don't just say it, act like it. You have to start acting like a leader before you feel like one. Because confidence doesn't just come from speaking, confidence comes from action. Let's think about David, one of my favorite people in the Bible. Before he was ever a king, he was acting like one. Before he ever wore a crown, he was leading in the field. Before he ever fought Goliath, he had already developed the courage he needed in private. Many of you are waiting for a title to give you permission to act like a leader. But leadership is not about a title. It's about the way you carry yourself. Start showing up to every room and every meeting with the mindset of a leader. Walk with confidence, speak with purpose, carry yourself like someone who knows who they are, like someone who knows that they have been created with a roar, created with a voice that needs to be heard. Leaders aren't made when they get the position. Leaders are made when they decide to step into their identity. Step number 3. Last and certainly not least, train your mind for leadership daily. This step may, in fact, be the most important step of all because leadership isn't about a one time shift, it's about a lifetime of transformation. Remember earlier I referenced Romans 12:2. Be not conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The key word here, the key word in what I'm speaking right now is the word renewing. Because this renewing implies daily, intentional, consistent. That means you have to train your mind for, you have to train your mind for leadership every single day. Leaders don't think like everyone else. If you want to think like a leader, you need to fill your mind with leadership. How do you do that? Here's what you can do. Every day, read something that challenges your thinking, whether it's a leadership book, a scripture, something, anything that sharpens you. Every day, also, spend time reflecting on your leadership. What did you learn? What could you have done better? Reflect on your day. And lastly, every day, surround yourself with other leaders because your environment will ultimately shape your mindset. If you want to think like a leader, you have to train your mind for leadership, not just once, every single day. All right, this is it. This is it. I trust that you didn't come here tonight, that you didn't tune in tonight just to be inspired, but to be activated. So here's my challenge to you, and it's one is one. What is one set mind? What is one mindset that you need to change right now? Not next week, not tomorrow, right now. Uh, do you need to stop waiting until you feel ready and just say yes to the calling? Do you need to stop chasing approval and start walking in obedience? Or do you need to stop waiting for confidence and just move forward with courage? Your leadership is not waiting on you to feel different, it's waiting for you to move differently. I want you to write it down somewhere. I want you to write this down somewhere. You can drop a comment to put in your notes, but just write down the answer to this question. What's the leadership mindset shift you're committing to today? Because when you put it into words, not just see it, but when you write it, when you speak it, when you hear it, it makes it real. For those of you who are ready to keep leveling up, next week we are going to dive into something every leader absolutely needs to understand. Because I want you to listen to me. Leadership does not start when you get a title. Leadership is about how you steward the influence that you have right where you are. And next week we're going to talk about owning your leadership. I'm sorry, owning your influence, leading right where you are. Too many people think they need a bigger platform before they can start leading. But real leaders, they recognize that their influence, they begin using their influence exactly where they are. If you've ever thought, I'll lead when I have more responsibilities, more followers, more recognition, any of that, next week's episode will change the way that you see leadership forever. So I want you to be here next week. Same time, same place, Thursday, 7 o'clock p.m. Listen, you were created to lead, not later, not someday, but right now. Created to lead. So here's what I want you to do. Here's what I need you to do. Make sure that you're subscribed. Click the notification bell so you never miss one of our sessions. Share this with someone who needs it. If anything that I shared tonight spoke to you, if it meant something to you, send it to someone, tag someone, share the link with someone. Don't keep it to yourself. The third thing is this: be here next week, because this isn't just another leadership series. This is leadership activation. Leadership starts in the mind. And once you shift your mindset, everything else follows. I'll see you next week for Leadership Impact Night. I'm excited for what's going to take place. Until then, lead boldly, move with confidence, and think like the leader God created you to be. Good night.